Well, I can't do a wrap up with the camera because the old camera doesn't work on the new computer. So I'm still haven't pulled the trigger on a new camera yet, but I know which one I'm going to get. But this is just all the oddball stuff. I'm not going to reach in there. There's a couple locks, some lighters, a couple more toy cars, of course, lots of keys. And like I said, there's fishing lures, screwdrivers, you name it's in there. This is some of the little stuff. And then the candlestick, the horseshoe, and then just all sorts of odds and ends of toy cars, a couple toy guns, some tags, the whole dart, which is unusual to find, and I love that thing. I wish I could get that back together, that little pin, the hummingbird pin. A couple of planes, lantern piece, one bolet, or Cub Scout thing, and then dog tag, the queen thing, little charms, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, another little toy gun, and that little ship. And then these are the rings for the year. I think I have 4 gold rings in there, maybe 5, and I ended up with about 40 rings this year. One I found and gave back to my granddaughter out at the lake. And then the lipstick tubes, a couple of those, the better ones. I love this one, this Art Deco one. That is just way too cool with all the stuff in it. All the designs on it. And then the gold little 14K necklace and the 24 karat gold pendant. And then just all the other little pendants and things and the little key. There's all sorts of fun stuff to find. But now I'm gonna go open the coin book and let you know what I ended up with in there. Well, before I get to the silvers, I can't remember what my clad total was. I ended up throwing that card out, but I did get the pennies finally sorted and done, and I ended up with 1,700 pennies. And I think my total for clad was roughly around $150. So not a whole lot this year, but I haven't had the time to get out like I did last year, so I cannot complain. And then now on to the silvers. For this year, I ended up with 104, and I ended up with 2 walkers, the only 2 halves I got this year. And then the 1908 D Barber quarter, 3 Standing Liberties, a 1920S, 1925, and that really worn shallow one, and some Washingtons. There's a Barber dime. I didn't get any seeded coins this year. A couple more Barber dimes. Then on to the Mercs. Really wish that one would have been a D, but no. Someday maybe. More Mercs. There's that bent one. More Mercs, Mercs, Mercs. Then on to the Rosies. And they're all the Rosies. Ring around the Rosies. And that was my first silver of the year. It was a Rosie. It was a 64D. So I just made the cutoff for that one, but then onto the War Nickels. And that's the last of the silvers for me this year. And these silvers right here, these came from the International Metal Detecting Day. And that was so much fun. I hope they do it in Indiana again. I loved it. That was a lot of fun. But those are silver, but they're not ones I actually dug. And then I got a V-nickel, 2 V-nickels, 1904, 1912. And then some Buffalo nickels, just a few. Then some other older nickels that I dug. I like to keep those in my book just because I dug them because they're older. And then 1 large cent. That's only my 2nd large cent I ever dug, US large cent. And this one didn't have a hole in it, so I was happy about that. Woohoo! Then the Canadian large cent, 1881. And then another Canadian large cent, 1917. So I got 2 of those this year. And my favorite find of the year was this Flying Eagle, the one and only one I've ever found. I gotta take this one out. I don't know how good this is gonna pick it up, but it's an 1857. Beautiful coin. Found it at a grade school in Pentwater, Michigan. Surprised the heck out of me. Thought it might have been an Indian at first till I saw it on the other side. And then Indian head pennies. I got quite a few this year. A lot more than I thought I'd ever dig. It took me forever to get one, then I finally got them, and like I said, that Fairgrounds is treating me well. And then that came up in the sand scoop, that little point. And then some Canadian. So those are just smaller old Canadian pennies that I found. And then the British 5 pence, 1940. And then a Canadian King George. I put those in there too just because they're Canadian and they're older and I dug them. Then the tokens, so my first soap token. And some of the flat pennies and some of the parking tokens and bus tokens, and those are just tags. And then the few trade tokens. And then those are just all the game tokens in there. And then these are all the wheats from the teens. These are all the wheats from the 20s. And yeah, the 30s were over here too. Didn't get a lot from the 10, teens, 20s, or 30s. Then the 40s, 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 40s. And the 50s. And then a couple older nickels that I didn't put in the book. But so in total I ended up with about 500. Well, I did find a few more wheat pennies when I was dumped out the other stuff. So I ended up with 507 wheat pennies and 104 silver coins. But anyway, all the best to everybody in 2015, and I see I just reached 1,000 subscribers. So I'm going to be having a contest here pretty soon. So thanks for sticking with me, bearing with me, and all the best in the new year.